In this video, I'm going to show you the inner workings behind a challenge funnel, a 3-day sales event, where we've been able to generate over $130,000 before the event even launched. So we still haven't pitched at the event, but we've made, and the total tally, you can see it on the screen, $87,000 in ticket sales of total revenue, plus an extra 40 odd thousand dollars in upsells to the high ticket program already before the challenge funnel has even launched. So we just had day one of the event yesterday as I'm recording this. Day two is today in just a few hours. And as I said, we've already done $130,000 for this client right here. My goal with this video is to walk you through exactly everything we've done through the promotion cycle, through the nurture cycle, to make sure that we've been able to generate as much revenue as possible. And we are now on track for a very high 6-figure event, if not touching the 7-figure range. So I'll walk you through that right now and everything in between. So I'll walk you through the offer. I'll walk you through how we've promoted it. I'll walk you through how we built that. And I'll walk you through how we've maximized the nurture process to get a 90% show up rate on day one. So out of 2,300 people that signed up, we had 1,950 people live at the event. So I'll walk you through that all now. So what are the offers and what is the overview of the funnel? The overview of the funnel is that it was a paid challenge funnel, meaning this was not a free event. They had to buy a ticket to come to this event. And as you can guess from what I'm saying, there are two ways of running a challenge funnel. You can either do it paid or you can do it free. We decided to do it paid because this client of ours has a really big organic audience in the training space, over 2 million followers, I believe, across all platforms. And we wanted only the best quality people because in the trading space, you get a lot of shitters. You get a lot of broke prospects. So in order to weed those out and to make sure that everyone who's coming to the challenge is good quality, while still also maximizing volume, we did it a very low ticket paid event. And there's two types of tickets. There's a standard ticket or a VIP ticket. Standard tickets, $9, the early bird price. VIP, $79 at the early bird price. And as you can see here, we ended up with 1,517 people buying the standard and 775 people buying the VIP. So just on these ticket sales alone, we've been able to generate $87,000 and the event hasn't even launched. And as you can see, we've only spent $26,000 on ads. So we are incredibly profitable in terms of the beginning part of this event because of the organic following and 73% of the total tickets coming from organic. Now, what are we selling on this 3-day challenge funnel? On the 3-day challenge funnel, we are selling a bundle. So it's a bundle of his new software that he's launching with a coaching kind of bolt-on, which brings the total ticket price to $2,997, so $3,000. The reason being is because it is on the higher ticket side. The software just itself is only $1,000 per year, which is not good enough if we want to make as much money from the event as possible. And also not to mention that when someone buys a software, adding coaching into that bundle makes it a really obvious no-brainer because the software gives them the tools, but the coaching gives them the application. So this sale is really easy to kind of justify mentally. So of course, if we can convert 10 to 15% of the ticket sales into high ticket sales, then we're right on pace for a very, very high 6-figure, if not a low 7-figure month from this event. And just to address the other elephant in the room, how are you saying it's 130,000 when it says 87,000 right here? Well, that's because here we have 87,000, which comes out to, let's call it 90,000 for the easy math, 3K give or take. Plus, as you can see here, this number is 60,000 from paid rev. This is because of the attribution being a bit messed up, because this is counting basically high ticket sales who even upgraded from the ticket sales who came through the ads. So realistically speaking, because we only had about 25% people come through ads, this should be around $25,000 to $30,000 in actual ticket sales, and the extra $30,000 was high ticket upgrades before the event even launched. So if you add that to the 90,000, we're in that kind of 120, 130 range. Once this event is done, I will also be doing a more in-depth breakdown, going through all the numbers at every stage. But this is just a video I wanted to make because I think it's very valuable to go through the entire process from start to finish, because so far things have been going very, very well. And obviously, even if for some reason we haven't made any sales through the event, we've still done 6 figures in profit, which is awesome. So now I'm going to walk you through exactly what the processes were for getting people to the event and how we managed to do so well up to this stage. So here's the funnel itself. And before we get into the ins and outs of it, let's quickly touch on the traffic sources that we used to generate this outcome so far. So we've used 2 main traffic sources, organic and paid ads. And within the paid ads as well, there's warm and cold, which I'll walk you through everything right now real quick. So in terms of organic, this creator has a really good organic audience, both on YouTube and on Instagram. So we did everything we could to maximize the likelihood of getting as many of those people to show up. So on YouTube, we did YouTube video content tailored around this with in-video promotions, telling them to buy a ticket in the link in the description. We had YouTube community posts as well, going out every couple days that are value-based, pain-based with the CTA to get people to do that. We had the link in the description. We had first comment as well. And all of this across his 2 to 3 YouTube channels culminated in a good amount of organic traffic going to the page. The other thing was Instagram. So we used Instagram very heavily with story sequences, scripted reels with a ManyChat CTA to get people to get a ticket to the event, framing it as a very big workshop. And we really wanted to ingrain the dates of March 24 to 26 in the audience's mind, because if you can make it a really big deal before the event even gets started, then of course, that's going to build a lot of hype and people are going to want to come. And it's also worth mentioning that realistically speaking, with the challenge funnel, you want to do a 60-day promotion cycle. We really did 4 weeks, and we really did this on a time crunch. So this client came to us at the end of January, so already a third of the way through Q1, and they wanted to do it before the end of Q1, right? So that's end of March, which we are at now. But at the time, we had the whole infrastructure to build, which took a long time. And so he gave us a challenge, and we took on the challenge because we like to do that at Ampливert with our team. We like to go above and beyond for our clients, which was, can we set up an entire challenge funnel, all the assets, and do the whole promotion in 6 weeks? And we've done it, and we've done it so far. So that's what we did for promotion. It was a 4-week promotion cycle. So we started promoting on February 23rd, and then we pushed people to this page. And it's worth mentioning, we had 2 versions of this page. So let's talk about conversion now. And just before I walk you through exactly the ins and outs of the funnel, let's talk about the ads. So what did we do for the ad strategy? We had 2 forms of ad strategies. We had the warm ads, which were retargeting based, and then we had cold ads, which were to get people who were interested in trading to come to this event, because of course we were framing this event to the public as a large trading boot camp, not an event, not a challenge funnel, not a sales pitch, but a boot camp where we're going to be teaching genuine value and genuine lessons, which was the goal and is the goal, and we've been doing so far in this event. So what do? We had retargeting ads that were going to his audience. So his audience on Meta and his audience on Google. So we're running both Meta and Google ads, where we're basically retargeting the audience with videos to go ahead and buy a ticket. Very simple. I'm not going to go too far in depth with that. If you want more, I can make more videos on the actual advertising strategy that got us a 2x ROAS on ticket sales on the front end. And then that's organic. And then on the cold side as well, very similar. We tested a bunch of image ads and also a bunch of video ads. More specifically, I think we had 60 plus creatives that we were testing, and we got the winners, we scaled the winners, and then we were able to generate a ton of traffic with a really good conversion rate. So fairly straightforward. I want to go into more of the process of how we did this. So this is what the funnel looked like. We have two pages that we were split testing. We had this one, which was a based kind of banner. And then we have also this one, which was a VSL. Now, there's 2 ways you can go about this, and there's a few schools of thought. The first is when you have a free event, you want to reduce the amount of friction that people have before buying. Why? Well, because if you make people watch a video, that's more chances they'll click off the video, and then you'll get less people applying. Now, there's pros and cons to having a free event versus a paid event, and you have to just weigh out which one will work for you. If you have a really massive organic audience, which is the only way that you can really justify doing a free event, I'm talking you need millions and millions of followers for this to be justified. With a high quality audience at that, you could get away with doing a free. And then in this case, the image will work. In our case, both converted very, very well. Both converted above in the 5 to 10% range, which is fantastic. But we specifically had now the price has increased, but it was a $9 general entry with a $79 VIP. And the reason being is that we wanted to make it paid, so we have a little bit of a barrier to entry, but not make it so expensive that a lot of the people in the, let's say, more third world countries or low income countries couldn't come, because a lot of his audience is in that, or like with any make money offer, you're going to have a lot of people in those countries. And we still wanted to make this accessible to them because of the fact that it's still going to be a valuable event, whether they buy the ticket on the back end or not the ticket, but the offer on the back end or not. So we had a $9, which is also an impulse buy. So when you're looking at liquidating ad spend and making sure that people take action, it's not as difficult. As soon as you go above double digits in price, even if you go from 9 to 12, that's still going to trigger differently psychologically in the person's mind. So $9 is almost free, basically. People will still buy that at a very high clip. And then we had $79 as the VIP ticket, because we were able to give a lot of value in the VIP ticket, which made people want to join. So I'll go into exactly how you differentiate the two in a bit. But we had, as you can see here from the dashboard, a lot of people buying VIP, 775 out of 2,300. That is a very high percentage. And the reason that we had that was both because the VIP was kind of cheap. $79 is on the cheaper side for some of these funnels. Usually, especially if it's a more sophisticated audience, you want to be going, 150 to 199. But we were optimizing for volume here, and we'll see how that's going to pay off after the webinar. But here's what we gave. So in terms of the $9 or $17 now general entry standard ticket, they get full access to the 3-day live trading bootcamp, which is obviously the 3 days of training. They get daily workbooks to implement what they learn. They get access to all the live Q&A sessions, but no guarantee, like no priority in the Q&A. They get a private WhatsApp group access, and then they get limited access to the recordings. So they only get the recordings until the end of the event. Then after 24 hours after day 3 ends, the recording goes away. Why? Because that's a really good incentive to give people. Is if you're paying for 3 days of training, you want to keep the recordings for lifetime, which is what we give to the VIP people, where they get everything in standard. And again, the final kind of, this is best for faster results, direct help, and giveaways. Obviously, we put most popular here. But we say everything in standard. Plus, they also get 30-minute VIP breakout sessions with Brad before the event. VIP Q&A priority, meaning that they have a priority of their question being answered, which we do by giving them a separate channel of answering questions in the standard Q&A. So obviously, in the breakout sessions, they don't need it for the VIP people. But in the main live rooms, they have a separate Google Forms where they submit their questions, and then Brad looks at those preferentially to the standard ones. And then we have private VIP WhatsApp group access, where we give them bonus templates and bonus videos, lifetime access to all 3 bootcamp recordings, entry into the 20 prize giveaway, which was an insane giveaway. And I would really recommend doing a giveaway because people love entering giveaways. We gave away like 10 100K funded accounts, which you'll know what that means if you're in the trading space. Give away coaching calls with him, coaching calls with a psychology coach, all kinds of different stuff that people really want. If you're going to do a giveaway, it has to be things that people really, really want. Don't bother giving away fluff. If you're giving away fluff, forget about it. It's not going to work. You have to give away things that people genuinely want, and it has to even be like a bit difficult for you to give it away. It has to feel too valuable. That's how you get a ton of people to buy the VIP. Then you go priority support throughout the event, and then VIP only resources and templates. And now I want to walk you through the flow of how we did it to maximize upgrades, because not only did we have a lot of people buy the VIP, we had a lot of people upgrade to VIP, 154 people, which is 11K in revenue just on the upgrades from standard to VIP. Okay, so I want to walk you through how we did that. So this is what the flow looked like. If someone went here and clicked either one of these buttons, we first have a lead capture where we take in their information, their first name, their last name, their email, and their phone number. Why? This allows the setters to go in there and message people who abandon cart and don't buy. And the second thing is it allows us to trigger an abandoned cart email sequence to where they're now going to fill out, or they're now going to get 7 days worth of email sequences, getting them to buy the ticket. Because a lot of people will click this, and I think we ended up having thousands of people fill in their information but not buy a ticket, and we were able to recoup a lot of them with the abandoned cart email sequence. So once they buy the ticket for the standard and they fill in the capture form and they pay on the checkout link, they then go to here, which is, once they paid, it says your ticket is almost confirmed. Watch the video below and fill out the survey to whatever. So now we have them a survey which does 2 things. It gives them access to the WhatsApp group. So they have the incentive is if you want to get to the WhatsApp group, you have to fill out the survey. And here it's like an obligatory step, like they can't get around this. So they fill out the survey, which then takes us to a tally that opens up here, and then they will fill it out. Boom, boom, boom. And this allows us to score the leads. So lead scoring is effectively when you have different questions. Each question has a different kind of parameter that it grades them on. And then this allows the sales team to see who are the better leads, who are the worst leads. For example, if someone has invested in themselves, or if someone has traded with 10K before, or someone has whatever, has experience, this person is much more likely to buy a 3K, 6K, 9K program than someone who's never invested or traded before in their life. So this is what this allows us to do for the standard ticket people. Then once they fill this out, they will also then go to an upsell page, which allows us to get them to buy the VIP. So it's like they didn't buy the VIP yet. And then we have a second page where they can do that, which I will show you now. So this is what it looks like. So once they filled out the survey, they don't just go to the confirmation page, because now we have a great opportunity to upsell them more stuff. And even in this event, objectively speaking, we did a good job, but we could have done even more in terms of sales and revenue before the event if we had done a better job of upselling them different things. But we wanted to add less friction for this event, but in the future, we probably will add more OTOs, which means one-time offers and upsells, because as I said, we built this funnel in a crunch. We built this in 2 weeks, along with all the other assets on the back end and all the flows and everything like that. So there's one upsell here, which is the VIP. We don't give them anything else. But this is what it looks like. They fill out the survey. Then they come to this page, which that gives them the option to either upgrade for VIP to VIP for $70 or keep a standard ticket. And obviously, there's a VSL here that they can watch that will upsell them. And then, of course, we also have more stuff down the page to increase the likelihood that they buy. And so this goes here. They can either upgrade, which will then obviously take them to a checkout page, and then that will take them to a confirmation page for the VIP, which I'll show you in a second, or they click keep standard ticket, and then that will take them to the confirmation page for the standard ticket, which gives them a few things to do. So join the WhatsApp group, which is essential for maximizing the show up rate, which we see has worked exceptionally well, considering we've got a 90% show up rate on day one. Add the event to calendar, and then check the email inbox to make sure that they get all the resources that we send them. And I'll talk about show up rate at the end once I've gone through the whole funnel flow. So that's that. And then with the VIP people, you get the same thing. Just the funnel looks a bit different because it looks more premium with the gold lining. And then this is what they do. They click here, they fill out the survey, and then they go to the VIP confirmation page, which is effectively the same, but we just tell them to join the custom VIP group chat or the private VIP group chat instead of joining the standard one to create some exclusivity. And then again, they fill out the survey, which allows us to get information on them, which allows us to score the leads so that the sales team can do a better job and more effective job in terms of directing their attention once the event is over. So this is the flow of the funnel. And this is the way that we structure the VIP infrastructure to make sure that we maximize the amount of sales we make beforehand, so that when someone goes ahead and actually buys a standard ticket, they also get email sequences that upsell them, and they get the funnel, the VSL that pushes them to the VIP page, where then they have another chance to either say yes or say no. It's standard upsell kind of funnel stuff, but what you could probably do to improve this is add one, if not two more OTOs. Sorry, if they buy the standard ticket, but they don't buy VIP, you can downsell them to something cheaper. So instead of $70, you can sell them something for $20 or $30, like a document or a training or something like that. And if they buy the VIP, then you upsell them again to something else, which is more expensive, maybe in the $297 range, that they can then buy as well. Because if they're buying, then you want to extract as much as you can from every single registrant and also deliver as much value in the process as possible, because this helps liquidate your ad spend. So this goes into the second topic, the next topic that I wanted to discuss, which is how do you do, like, what is the point of doing all this? The point of having these upsells is not just to make money. It's to liquidate as much ad spend as possible. So objectively speaking, we went very tame on the ads this time around. And there's two reasons that we did that. The first reason is that we wanted to make this as big of an event organically so that we didn't risk as much capital, because the client didn't want to risk as much capital. The next thing is that because it's in the trading space, the one thing we did not want to do, and also because we were operating on a time crunch, the one thing we did not want to do is risk the client's account getting banned or restricted or whatever, which actually happened with the Google account. So we had to work around and things like that. But we had to take it really tame, because the advertising platforms do not fucking like trading offers, because most of them are fucking bullshit. Most of them are fucking scams. And so, of course, rightly so. So it's very, very regulated. And so we wanted to go a bit more tame on the paid advertising side, but we still did an effective job of generating even cold ticket sales of people who did not know the client from ads. And we were able to break even on those and get very close to break even. And so we were able to scale and bring in people to the event and to the audience who otherwise would not have joined. And then as well on the organic side, it allowed us to pump essentially infinite dollars to make sure that we were able to get the most amount of return out before the event. Because think of it this way, if you're spending money on ads to get people to your event, you're basically going into the negative. And then once the event starts, you have to slingshot your way out of it. And then you have some margin to go through to break even and then make money. In this case, because we were able to actually make some money on the front end and actually stay above that kind of baseline, it's all profit. So the event is all complete profit. So this is how we did that and we structured that in order to get that result so far. And then as well, we gave people the ability to go in and talk to a sales team and have the sales team reach out to very high scoring leads to actually upsell them into the program before the event even started, which is, you have to be very, very careful with this, but we did this with people who showed a lot of interest. And that was able to get us an extra 40-ish K in revenue even before the event even started. So bringing us to 120, 130 range. So that is essentially the structure. We also had a ton of email sequences that I'll touch on right now before I get into the show up rate, but it kind of ties in. So show up rate and emails. What did we do there? Emails, we had, I forget the exact number off the top of my head, but we had promotion emails, we had abandoned cart emails, we had email sequences for people who buy standard ticket, for VIP ticket, and so on and so forth. And so we had a bunch of email sequences that had to be very, very carefully scripted out, and that had two objectives. The first objective was if they bought the standard ticket, then we obviously wanted them to upsell, but we also wanted to make sure that both the VIP and the standard had a high chance of showing up to the event. So how exactly did we do that? There's a couple of points that you have to hit. And the main thing around this is hitting all the psychological triggers that make it so that coming to this event is an absolute no-brainer. Obviously, them having paid is very, very useful. If they don't pay, or if they just, bought a free ticket or signed up for a free ticket, if you were doing a free pay challenge, then of course you have to do a lot more work than this on the back end to get them to show up and to build the hype. But for us, because they paid, you didn't have to do as much work. But the main thing that we were able to do was we were able to use emails very, very effectively. So whether you bought a standard ticket or a VIP ticket, you got a ton of value-based emails in the month leading up to the event, ramping up towards the final week. So at the beginning of the 4-week promotion cycle, they were only getting emails once every 2-3 days, whereas in the last 10 days to 7 days, they were getting 1, if not 2 or 3 emails a day. And these emails are not just spam bullshit reminders. These are emails that are very valuable. These are emails that teach, share resources, share YouTube videos, share, hit the pain points, address any common questions they already have before the event, so that you're keeping them in the loop. And the way you can track if you're doing a good job at this is you track the open rates. If the open rates are staying high throughout the whole process, then you're doing an effective job. If they're dipping, you're either sending too many emails or you are just not sending interesting enough emails, because you want to build a psychological trigger with the attendees, with the ticket holders, that when you send an email, they open it because it's valuable. So it's just a payoff thing. If you can show them that there's a positive payoff for buying your ticket and for reading your emails, then they're going to read more of the emails and then they're going to more likely show up to the event, right? So that's that. And then the second thing was the WhatsApp group, which I could probably throw some things up on the screen of like what we did in the WhatsApp group. But we basically sent videos almost every single day in the last week or 2 before the event. So this was videos that we had scripted for Brad that he can put out there, where he could essentially mention the same things that we're mentioning on the emails, this time in video format, to again repurpose it. Because with all of these things, you have to think about people repurpose or consume content differently. Some people will read an email, some people will never read an email, and so you have to hit them on the WhatsApp group. Some people won't watch a video, so you have to write them a short text. So we had text going out, videos going out, short clips, things like that. So we were able to do that very, very effectively. And the final thing that we were able to do to be able to get a 90% show up rate on the actual day 1 of the event was that we used retargeting ads as well. So for those people who bought tickets, they would get retargeting ads hyping up the event, both with images and with videos. So similar to the WhatsApp group, this time just on Meta ads, because again, think about it. Where do people spend all their time? They spend all their time on social media. So why would we not hit them up there where they spend most of their time? And then also not to mention that we had supplementary campaigns that the goal was to get people who abandoned cart to come back and buy, and then also people who bought standard to upsell to VIP, which also worked well into helping us get around 150 VIP upgrades. So that is the basically the rundown of the promotion and the lead up to this event. We had a lot of issues and things come up, and we had to do this in a very, very crunch time frame, but that's the level we operate at. Where I really, truly believe one of the hardest working and best teams in the kind of info coaching space, and webinars and challenge funnels are our bread and butter. And so we really have the process dialed in. So we were able to do it in a crunch time frame, and so far everything's looking smooth. So this is how we were able to do this. We were able to make $130,000 with a challenge funnel before the fucking event even started. And now we wait for the event and see the process in the next week or so. And so I'll be making a part 2 to this video, and then also a full kind of conglomerated video of everything in there. But feel free, if you have any questions, ask them in the comments, and I'd be more than happy to reply and give my 2 cents. And then of course, if you want to work with us and have us run a challenge funnel for you, you can go ahead and book and call with my team just down below, actually with me personally, and I'll get on the phone with you and see if it makes sense for you and your business. And if it does, we'll either pick a webinar or a challenge funnel and we'll run that for you. And that's that. Other than that, follow me on Instagram. You can send me messages there and questions. I'm more than happy to answer anything you need. And we will catch up soon once this is over. Speak soon and take care.